Hi everyone, it's Christy. Welcome to another meal prep video. This week for breakfast prep, I'm doing a modified version of my blueberry pancake bake, and I'm also combining that with some Emily Bites breakfast turkey sausage. And for lunch this week, it's teriyaki chicken rice bowls. I also threw together a dinner kit, and I'm trying the viral high protein ranch dip. If you're new here, I meal prep for my husband and I for just 3 days. The other 2 days of the week, we do something different. On my channel, I share the Weight Watcher points as well as calories. As always, the links to the recipes as well as items that I use, such as my meal prep containers, will be linked down in the description box below. So now let's jump into this week's meal prep. My blueberry pancake bake recipe this week. I have not made a pancake bake in a long time, but I am going to be making some modifications to this one. In addition to this, to go with it, I'm going to be making Emily Bites turkey breakfast sausage. I've made this so many times and it's really good, and it's so easy to throw together, and best of all, it's 0 points on Weight Watchers. So for the pancake bake, what you need is 2 cups of Kodiak cake, power cakes. In the recipe, it says chocolate chip flapjack mix, but I'm just using the regular buttermilk. So 2 cups of that. We also need 1.5 cups of unsweetened almond milk, but I'm making a modification. And to increase the protein a little bit, I'm just going to use this Fairlife fat-free milk. So use whatever kind of milk you want. We're also going to need an egg, and then also you can either use unsweetened applesauce or 2 overripe mashed bananas. I'm going to use just some unsweetened applesauce. So I need 1/2 cup of that, which is about what's in there. And then I'm also going to use a teaspoon of vanilla extract, a teaspoon of baking powder, and a teaspoon of ground cinnamon. You can omit that if you want. And then also 1 cup of blueberries. I didn't have any fresh blueberries this week, so I'm just using some frozen. I'm also going to be doing something different with that too. I'm going to put some of these in the mix, but then I'm also going to take some blueberries and put them in a bowl in the microwave with just a little touch of syrup, and then I'm just going to kind of put that over the top of it when it's done. So I've never done it that way. We're going to see how it turns out. So with the modifications, the points stay the same. It's still 3 points on Weight Watchers, and then it's 184 calories and 14 grams of protein. And then for the Emily Bites turkey breakfast sausage, as far as points and calories on that, it is 0 points on Weight Watchers. It's 122 calories and 26 grams of protein for how many I'm going to be having. So I'm going to make a double portion of this. For 1 pound, it makes 8 patties. I'm gonna make 16 patties, and I'm just gonna put 2 patties in each meal prep container, and then I'll have 4 leftover patties to just have throughout the week if we want. So with the 2 sausages plus the pancake bake, for the total breakfast is gonna be about 306 calories, 40 grams of protein, and 3 Weight Watcher points. And then I'm also probably gonna add maybe 1 point worth of some sugar-free syrup as well. So to a bowl, I'm going to add my pancake mix. I'm going to add all the dry ingredients first. I'm going to add the pancake mix, the teaspoon of baking powder, and the teaspoon of cinnamon. And then I'm just going to stir that up a little bit. And then I'm going to add in 1.5 cups of the milk, the unsweetened applesauce, the vanilla extract, and then my egg. And then I'm just going to whisk all that together. And once it's whisked real well, I'm going to just fold in the blueberries. And because these are frozen, you can see it kind of does turn them a little bit blue. That's perfectly fine. And then I'm going to pour the batter into a prepared pan. I've just sprayed my pan with some cooking spray. It's a 13 by 9 inch pan. And then if you want, you can top it with additional cinnamon. And then this is going to be baked in a 350-degree oven for about 25 to 30 minutes. So while the pancake bake is in the oven, I'm going to get the turkey breakfast sausage going. Like I said, I'm going to be doubling the recipe. So I have 2 pounds of turkey breast. I have 2 different brands here. One is Publix and one is from Aldi. But use whatever brand you want. As long as it's the 99% fat-free, then that's all that matters. So now I'm just adding the spices, and again, I'm adding double the amount. So if you're just doing the 8 patties and not 16, then you would just half this, or I'll put the link down in the description box for the recipe. So I'm putting in about 1 teaspoon of salt and pepper, and then 1.5 teaspoons of ground sage, 1 teaspoon of ground thyme, which actually I'm just using 1/2 teaspoon because I'm not a big fan of thyme. And then 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, which I'm actually adding a little more because I love garlic powder. 1/2 teaspoon of marjoram. If you don't have marjoram, you can use dried oregano. half a teaspoon of smoked paprika, and half a teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes, which you can leave those out if you don't like the spice. And then just mix that all together. I am just using my hands, but if you don't like to use your hands, you can use a fork or whatever you want to use. I am just old-fashioned, dig your hands in there and mix it up. So you want to just mix that real well until those spices are well combined. Now the recipe does say that if possible, you can cover and refrigerate it for at least an hour or overnight so that the flavors can meld, but I'm not going to be doing that since I'm doing the meal prep right now. So now once those are all combined, I'm going to split it into 16 patties. So I'm just putting it here on some parchment paper, and I'm going to try and kind of put it into a little bit of a rectangle. And then I just take a pizza cutter and just split it into 16. I don't know. For me, I like to do that like with meatballs too. It just seems like it's easier to kind of portion it out. These aren't going to be exact. If you wanted to be exact, you could put them on a scale and weigh them. In fact, I used to do that, but I've gotten a little bit more relaxed in things like that. So then once those are in patties, now I'm just going to put them in a skillet. So I have my skillet sprayed with some cooking spray. I've got it on medium, and I'm just going to cook it on each side until they're browned. And if you wanted to, you could add a little bit of olive oil. Like I said, these meals today are really low in fat. So if you want to add a little bit of olive oil, you definitely could do that. So now I'm going to weigh out 2 tablespoons of pancake syrup. It's 30 milliliters for 2 tablespoons. So I'm just going to weigh it out in these little containers. These are little containers that I got from the Dollar Tree a long time ago. They were like 10 for $1, but I don't know how much the Dollar Tree is now. I think prices went up since then. So then I'm going to add a little bit more blueberries to my little cup here. And then I'm just going to add maybe like a teaspoon of sugar-free syrup, and then just give that a stir. And I'm just going to put that in the microwave for maybe like 30 seconds. So this is what the pancake bake looks like when it comes out of the oven. One thing I forgot to mention, this is not like a cake. It is more like pancakes. It does not have a real sweet flavor to it. I usually just like to get the sweetness from the blueberries, and especially the topping that I'm going to be putting on it. And the syrup, that's where I get the sweetness. But if you wanted to, you could add, you know, some type of sweetener to the batter if you wanted. So once that's cooled down a little bit, then I'm just going to cut it. So this is going to make enough for 6 portions. It's 3 for me, 3 for my husband. And then what I usually do is cut each portion into half. So then we have kind of like 2 in each one. So now in my meal prep container, I'm using my 2 compartment. Well, with the exception of one, I only have 5 2 compartments. So I'm using a 3 compartment as well. I've got my syrup in one corner, and then I'm just adding the sausage. And then I'm going to add the pancake bake. And finally, I'm going to top it with those blueberries. And I think these blueberries are really going to top this. I think I'll probably be making it this way from now on. Okay, I had 3 huge strawberries left. These strawberries that I had just gotten, well, they're local, but they were huge. So I just cut it in half and put half of that in there, and we can just slice it up if we want and have it with the breakfast. So that is the breakfast for the week. This looks so good. I have been craving one of these pancake bakes for a long time, so I'm excited to have one of these again. So like I said, for the pancake bake and the sausage, not counting the strawberry, not counting the syrup, it's 306 calories, 40 grams of protein, and 4 Weight Watcher points. For lunch this week, I'm making teriyaki chicken rice bowls, and I'm doing a couple of shortcuts, so this is going to be super easy this week. So with the exact amounts and ingredients that I'm using, this is going to come to only 4 points on Weight Watchers. It's going to be 375 calories and 46 grams of protein. So one of the shortcuts is I've got some diced chicken breasts, so I don't have to dice up my chicken. And I found this at Publix. And I have here 2.5 pounds. So I'm actually going to make about 6 ounces of chicken in each portion. So if you want less protein or less meat, you can definitely reduce the amount that you use. Each one of these has 1.25 pounds, so I'm just going to use both of them. And then the other shortcut I have is I'm just going to use some instant rice. I just have this brown rice that I get from Aldi. You can use whatever kind of rice you want. So in here I have 200 grams of rice that I've actually weighed it out, but it's the equivalent of 2 cups. So that's going to be 1/3 of a cup of the dry for each serving. That is 3 points on Weight Watchers. And then for calories, it's going to be about 120 calories. For the chicken, that's 0 points on Weight Watchers, and for the amount I'm using, it's going to be about 180 calories. And I'm just going to use this teriyaki stir fry sauce that I get from Aldi. For this, you can have 1 tablespoon for 1 point on Weight Watchers, and it's 25 calories for a tablespoon. So I'm probably going to use about 6 tablespoons in it so that we get 1 tablespoon per serving. But I'm kind of debating. I think I may just use like 3 tablespoons in with the chicken, and then the other 3 tablespoons will be kind of to stir over the rice. And then the other thing I have here is some chicken broth, and that's just because when I do my rice, I'm gonna just do half water and half chicken broth. And then on this tray, I have a bunch of broccoli, and over on my stove, I have another tray. So if you can't tell, broccoli is probably my all-time favorite vegetable. Like, I think I could eat broccoli every single day. In fact, I think I made it in my last meal prep. So for the broccoli, I just add some salt and pepper and drizzle it with a little bit of olive oil. And those go in a preheated 400-degree oven for just about 20 minutes. You can definitely take them out before that though. So I'm gonna be roasting them now, but then keep in mind we're gonna be heating them throughout the week too. So if you wanna take them out before the 20 minutes, that's completely up to you. So I've got a skillet on my other burner that I'm heating up for the chicken. So now that the water and chicken broth is boiling, I'm gonna just add the rice. And I'm gonna just bring that to another boil, reduce the heat, and cover it and let it sit. So I'm gonna let that sit and simmer for about 5 minutes on low, and then I'll just remove it from the burner after. Okay, so I've got my pan heated. I just used some cooking spray, but if you want to use a little bit of olive oil, you can. These meals today are actually pretty low fat. They don't really have a whole lot of fat in them, so I would definitely feel free to add some olive oil, or what I'll end up doing is just getting in some healthy fats throughout the day. So now I'm just going to add the chicken. Now that that's been cooking a little bit, created a little bit of juice, I'm going to add in some Montreal chicken seasoning. You can add whatever seasonings you like. And then I'm just going to let that sit there and keep cooking. I've got my burner on medium high, and this should only take like 10 minutes. Alright, that is done cooking. So now I'm going to add in the 3 tablespoons of teriyaki sauce. So I just weighed it out. It was 54 grams for the 3 tablespoons, which is almost a quarter of a cup. I'm just going to get an idea of what that looks like in there. I may add a little bit more and then not put as much in the rice. Alright, I've got the other 3 tablespoons here. I'm just going to add a little bit more, and then I'll put the rest in the meal prep containers with the rice and broccoli. Alright, so now I'll shut that off. And my broccoli's done, and I've got my rice back there. So now I'm just portioning everything out into the meal prep containers, which I will link these containers down in the description box below. So I'm just putting the rice down in the bottom of the containers, and then just putting some of the teriyaki sauce on top of the rice, and then putting the broccoli down, and finally the chicken. And the last thing I'm going to do is just add some green onion. Okay, I don't know where my camera died, but I am putting some sugar-free yum yum sauce on this. So I measured out, I weighed out 96 grams into here, which is the equivalent of 6 tablespoons of the sugar-free yum yum sauce. So for this, on Weight Watchers, for 2 tablespoons is 4 points, and then it's 120 calories, but I'm just doing 1 tablespoon on each, so it'll just be 2 points and 60 calories. So that's completely optional if you want to add this. You can also wait and add this at the end as well, after you heat it, but I just go ahead and heat it with it on. So that is going to be the lunches this week. So like I said, without the yum yum sauce, 375 calories, 46 grams of protein, and 4 points. But with the yum yum sauce added, it's an additional 60 calories and 2 points. gonna try something here. Have y'all seen the viral ranch dip where they use cottage cheese and ranch seasoning? So we're gonna try it. So what you do is just take the Good Culture. That's the only kind I would use anyway. I'd say if you want to make it 0 point on Weight Watchers, you could use the non-fat cottage cheese, but I always use the 2% Good Culture. So we're gonna put this in the blender. All you do is put it in the blender with the ranch seasoning, blend it up, and supposedly it tastes just like ranch dressing. I hope so, because the thought of wasting this whole thing of cottage cheese makes me really sad. And then you just put it back in this, that way you know when the expiration date is. And then I've got my packet of ranch dressing mix. I just got this one from Aldi. And I saw one where they added a little bit of salt. I don't know if we really need that, and I think we can add that at the end if we need to. So I'm just gonna use my magic bullet and blend this up. Okay. Ooh, it sure looks like dip. Okay, so I got some carrots here. I'm gonna give it a try. I'm a little bit scared. You have got to be kidding me. That tastes like ranch dressing, and no, it did not need the salt. It's actually a little bit salty, I think, for my liking. So definitely, if you make this, try making it without the salt. You can always try it and then add salt and blend it together. It looks like my blender didn't blend all of it. There is still some chunks of cottage cheese in there, but that'll be fine. It's not too bad. So my snack for this week will be most likely carrots and this dip. I like the ranch, what is it, Bolthouse Farms ranch. That's really good, but this is amazing. So we've got a protein dip here, because for half a cup of regular cottage cheese is 80 calories and 14 grams of protein, and then 2 points, but you're not gonna, I doubt, have half a cup with your carrots. So definitely try this and let me know what you think. So now I'm putting together just one dinner kit, which I do dinner kits sometimes and sometimes I don't. It honestly depends on how I'm feeling and what we're having for the week. One night for dinner, I'm gonna have pork tenderloin with potatoes and carrots. So I'm just putting the topping together now, which is just well, for a single portion, it's half a tablespoon of olive oil, a tablespoon of stone ground mustard, 1 garlic clove, and some chives, which I haven't put the chives in yet. I'm just using some dried chives. And that's it. And then I'll just put the top on there. And then in my little container here, I've got some potatoes, some carrots, and my pork tenderloin. This is a twin pack. So I'm gonna probably make all of that, and then we'll have it for 2 nights. Or I may make this Wednesday night, and then that way we can have it for lunch on Thursday. So I'm just gonna put everything in here and then just stick that in my fridge that way. It just makes it easy throughout the week. My toppings all together, come home, put it together, and cook it. So that's all I'm doing for dinner kits this week. And that's my entire meal prep for this week. I'm super excited this week. So we've got breakfast, lunches, I've got my dinner kit, and my viral ranch dip. So my snacks this week will pretty much be carrots and the dip. I also have some protein shakes, which if you're on Weight Watchers, those are the pure protein that are only 1 point per shake. I have my 2 point cottage cheese. Those are just the individual ones. Those are 2 points each. I've got apples and bananas and some 2 point Dannon Light and Fit yogurt. So I hope you enjoyed this meal prep video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one.